All right. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Sean with Flux here, and wanted to thank everybody for joining us today for our Word Add-in Overview webinar. We're going to be going over how to install, log in, and build templates in Word for your Flux instance. A solution to build powerful and dynamic templates that will save you time and effort for you to refocus on other tasks. So as always, if you should have any questions at any time during the session, please jot those down in the questions section. It is okay if you want to ask them ahead of time, even if we address them in our slides. It's great to get them ahead of time so we can work on some answers for you as they come in. And we will save the last few minutes to address these questions. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. So in today's webinar, we're going to be going over how to install and access Word Add-in, logging in and building a template, adding and formatting fields, some advanced functionality, and of course our favorite Q&A at the end. So first and foremost, before we start on the installation process, we should go over the requirements for installing the Flux Word add-in. To use the add-in, you will need a license for at least Microsoft Word 2010 or later, installed on a Windows device, on an account with administrator privileges, along with being a Flux user with admin rights. Currently, the add-in is not available for Mac OS. To address this, there are many virtualization options available to allow you to leverage the functionality of the Word add-in. You could check out the Flux community for recommendations from your peers. So to get this, first off, what you'll want to do is head into the admin panel. Then you're going to go into your card documents. For this webinar, we will build a letter under the grant request model. So the next step from there would be to click the New Document button on the bottom. This will bring up two options in your attributes pane on the right. There you'll want to give this letter a name and make sure that your letter type is Word template. When you've picked your type and gave your letter a name, go ahead and save it. Now that we've created our Word template in the admin panel, let's go over the installation process for the add-in. To do this, you will need to have administrator privileges on the machine you're installing this on. If needed, you may need to contact your organization's IT team to assist you with this installation. To reiterate what we mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, you will need a copy of at least Microsoft Word 2010 or later to install the add-in, along with an account with administrator privileges. So continuing from where we left off in the admin panel, you're going to refer to step 2 in the part of your attributes pane highlighted in the yellow on the right. Click on the Flux add-in hyperlink to download the latest version to your system. When your download is completed, open the installer and follow the prompts and accept all agreements within the install, or within all the little pop-out box to install the add-in. When prompted, the wizard will prompt you for administrative approval to proceed with the installation. You'll go ahead and select yes, and the installation will continue. When the installation is complete, you will be able to use the add-in immediately. All right, so now that we have the Word add-in installed on our system, we can go ahead and begin creating our letter template. To do this, you will need to download the base template for our letter. Please note that the base template will be different for each model type. So for every card you want to build a letter template for, make sure that you download the corresponding base template. So again, back to the card documents page in our admin panel. This time we want to click on the base template link just below where we downloaded the add-in on step 3. So you'll click on this link to begin the download and then open the file when it completes. When you open the base template, you should notice a Flux ribbon that was added when you installed the add-in. You'll click on that to view the available buttons. Right now, only the login button is available to click while the others are grayed out. Those become available when you are logged into a Flux instance. When you click the login button, you should see a new window appear asking you to log in to your Flux instance. Here you'll need to provide the URL of your site and credentials for a Flux admin to proceed. Once you've got those entered, just go ahead and simply click the orange login button. Now, if you do find that you entered the incorrect information and you cannot find the login prompt again, if you hit the tab key, it'll bring it back and make it visible again. So now that we've downloaded our base template and logged into Flux via the add-in, we can now begin building our template using fields from our Flux instance as placeholders to make dynamically generated letters to use in your communications. So before we get started in adding fields to the template, we need to go over to the developer ribbon and select the button Design View for us to easily identify the fields we're adding to our template. Once we have the design view enabled, we can go back to the Flux ribbon and start adding our fields from your system. These are available on the Field Explorer pane on the left. From there, you're able to select the majority of your dynamic and core fields, with the exception of those that involve methods or calculations, such as a dynamic calculated field. When we have our cursor over a field, we can see that the elements pane on the right will update with information about our field, along with options for transformations and format, depending on the field. You have the ability to print currency and date fields to different formats used in different regions as needed from this pane. All right. So at this point, we've learned about how to install and log into the add-in, where to find the base template, and how to pull in and format Flux fields from your system. From here, we're going to go over to the more advanced features of the add-in, such as conditional logic and lists, which will allow you to dynamically hide and show different parts of your letter based on the values provided in specific fields, and pull in and list out information from records related to the request the letter was generated on. So first off, in this section, we will cover using conditional logic functionality to hide or show parts of your letter based on the responses provided in the record the letter is being generated on. To do this, you'll highlight the part of your letter that you want to be affected by the condition. Once you have the proper portions highlighted, you'll select the condition button in the Flux ribbon. This will bring up a window that looks similar to the advanced filtering view you'll find on your Flux dashboard. Here you can add fields, and define what expressions and values to use in your conditions and how they are evaluated. To add a field, click on the green plus button towards the top right of the blue area. Make sure to click it only once to avoid opening duplicate windows. Now you should be prompted to add a field from your system, along with an expression and a value for a condition you wish to set for the area you highlighted. Once you've decided on your condition, select the blue Create Condition button to add it for the block you've highlighted. You're going to go ahead and repeat this for as many fields as you would like to use for your condition. As well, make sure that you are using the proper grouping evaluation and for all values to be met, or for only one value to be met. A best practice when building these is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I usually tell myself that a lot. The next bit of advanced functionality we will cover is the List button. This allows you to build dynamic tables of data from cards such as reports or payments to list out individual payments related to the record or the reports those payments may be contingent upon. You are able to pull in fields from those cards and have them display for every record available into this letter. To do this, you'll want to create a table with 2 rows and as many columns to match the amount of fields you would like to use. For each column in the first row, supply a header to identify which fields you're pulling in. In the second row, supply the field you wish to populate that column with. When you've inserted all the fields you want to use, highlight the row that contains them and click on the List button in the Flux ribbon. You should see a window that says New List appear with a Select field. In that Select field, you are able to select the card in which you wish to pull the related data from to populate your table. In this case, we're using the Request Transactions field and want to establish a relationship to the request transaction model. So we'll select that from the list and click OK. You should now see a list identifier for the fields you've highlighted, which should dynamically populate with all the data from the selected related model when a letter is generated. All right. Well, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for the overview portion of today's webinar. So let's take a look at some of the questions that we have to help you out with. I have a question. I have some calculated fields I built that I want to include in my template, but I cannot find them. Why are they not available to add to my template? We touched upon that earlier. That is the exception, but due to the way that calculated fields work in the background and the performance limitations of our system, these fields are going to not be available through the Word add-in. Great question, though. Let's see here. We have one that says, I have a field in a template for my grant request model, and whenever I generate a letter, I do not see any data coming back to this field. Why is this happening? Well, that's a great question. It's frustrating when you hit that. If you filter a card for the field that you're using with an expression is not null, you should be able to see all the records where there will be a value available for that field. This is a good way to verify if you have to help verify if the field you want to use will show the values you want. We have another question here. I have a letter template that I built on my requests, and I want to make it available on reports. I took the same template I built on my request and uploaded it to the reports. When I try to generate a letter, I don't see any of my fields populating. You know, that's another great question that once you figure it out, you won't do it again, but it's kind of frustrating to start. It sounds like when you try to use the base template for one card type and another. So when building a template, you will need to download the base template for the model you want that template to live in. You know, this is because the template needs to know what fields are available to pull the values in from when you build it. All right. You guys must be pros out there. It looks we only had 3 questions so far, but that's great. So hopefully we've had a chance to answer all your questions. If anyone has anything that didn't get a chance to, go ahead and contact us here at support, and we'll be happy to answer your question. We also have some great articles in our knowledge base that may help you find the answers that you're looking for. So let's do a quick recap before we finish up. Today we went over how to install and access the Word add-in, logging in and building a template, adding and formatting fields, and some advanced functionality. So as always, to learn more and access this video recording, as well as all of our other training webinars, you can visit us at the knowledge base at flux.zendesk.com. From there, you'll be able to see a list of our upcoming webinars, links to register, suggestions on what topics we should cover in the future, and again, all of our past webinars. You can also make sure to check out the community site for updates from our webinar team. Also, you can let us know, again, what topics that you want to hear about. Or, of course, you can always reach out to us at support, and we'd be happy to help you. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today, and we hope to host you again for our next training. Have a great day.